On page 85, 1D, we are talking about shifts in demand or shifts in supply. And so I'm going to begin with my familiar supply and demand model. I'm going to try and draw it bigger because of the last problem and I got in trouble. So this is quantity supplied on the x-axis. This is price that corresponds to each quantity supplied on the y-axis. And I'm going to draw, because we're talking about supply, I'm going to draw my supply curve, which is here. And it's upward sloping from left to right because I'm assuming that producers and suppliers are profit maximizers, and as the price of a good that they produce increases, they're going to push to get that good out into the market more and more. And so that's the increase there as the price increases. So part D says many construction workers temporarily move to areas that have suffered hurricane damage, lured by higher wages. So it really does not matter for the purposes of this problem that they're moving somewhere else. Let's imagine here we're talking about the supply of labor in any labor market, in the general aggregate labor market. And so we can imagine that, let's say that at a wage, and again, this problem can be confusing for the same reasons that the last one was, which is that what is being supplied here is labor, and we typically think of laborers and workers as consumers demanding products. But laborers also supply something. They supply their labor. And so we can also think of laborers as producers in this way. So let's imagine that, say, and I'll use $8.50 again, at the wage of $8.50 an hour, you have, if we come across the supply curve, because this tells us how much quantity corresponds to $8.50 an hour, we have this much quantity of supply of labor. When a hurricane hits, it does not matter where, labor becomes something that is more needed, and so the wage will increase. So it'll increase to, say, I'm making this up, but let's say it goes to $13 an hour. And we're talking, oh, these are construction workers, so maybe this would be a shift from, say, I don't know, $20 an hour to, say, $30 an hour. So now I can come over and say, okay, well, at this amount per hour, the supply of laborers is this quantity. So I've noticed with these problems, they give little details to try and throw you off. And this is an example of that. But this really represents just a movement along the supply curve. For whatever reason, prices of labor went up. Labor is what's being supplied, and as a result of an increase in prices, the catalyst for change is the increase in prices. There is a movement along the supply curve. In the next video, I'm going to do 1E.